So, I was working on a track the other day in Ableton, and this track had like a 70s kind of old school vibe to it. And I was trying to think of techniques that I could use in the production itself that had that old school flavor. How could I use technique to kind of reinforce that vibe? That made me think of this video that I had just recently watched by this channel called Produce Like a Pro. Now, in that video, they were demonstrating how back in the day, in the console days, they used to mix an entire track into one reverb, which I thought was interesting. Now, don't get confused. This isn't the same thing as just slapping a reverb on the master channel. No, in this video, he was sending different amounts of different channels into one reverb, but he was also controlling the pre-delay of different channels of each channel independently using a simple delay. So that intrigued me. You're sending every instrument to the same room, but they're going to have different depths based on that pre-delay. So that's really interesting to me. So I decided to figure out how to do it in Reason. I knew I couldn't even think of a way to do it in Ableton, although maybe now I could, now that I've messed around with it. But I bounced everything out of Ableton, brought it over into Reason, and let me show you what I came up with. Okay, so this session here is where I started trying to figure out the situation. Let me play the track for you a little bit, but the reverb isn't mixed perfectly or anything like that. This is just where I started to try to figure out the idea.
Gotta get what you want, gotta get what you need. Better take all you get, my love, 'cause you know it don't come for free. Every little thing you want, every little thing you need. Keep it all for yourself, my love, 'cause it really don't matter to me. Gotta get what you want, gotta get what you need. Better take all you get, my love, 'cause you know it don't come for free. Every little thing you want, every little thing you need. Keep it all for yourself, my love, 'cause it really don't matter to me.
Okay, so that'll give you an idea of the vibe of the track. So when I first tried to figure this out, I was thinking to myself, okay, how do I send a bunch of tracks to the same track? I mean, without using a send. And the reason why just using a send, it's not as simple as using a send, is because I couldn't figure out how to get pre-delay in front of the send, right? So I needed to send this to this one reverb. There's only one reverb in the whole setup. But how do I pre-delay individual tracks using a simple delay? So what I came up with was taking any track that I wanted to send to the reverb and using its parallel out and sending that to the pre-delay, which is a simple delay, and the delay is set to milliseconds. The feedback is all the way down and it's all the way wet. So you can just push the signal, the whole signal, in time, but by milliseconds. So that's going, whatever signal I want to be reverbed is going to this delay, and then that delay is going to this, I'm going to call it a send, basically, because I needed to control the volume. It's sending a like unity gain from the parallel. So I needed to be able to control the volume, so I set up a gain, and then the gain goes out to Spider Audio mergers. So each one of these channels that's sending a pre-delayed verb, and they all have different settings, you can see. I'm putting them in different places, depth-wise. Some have none. They're all going to this merger. So all these signals are getting summed to one signal. So this is where I started, and this works to solve the thing, but it's really fiddly. One, you're dealing with the bottom ends of all of these gains, and it gets really sensitive down here, so getting the level right was really difficult. Also, which one is which? It's like you got to read it. It's hard. So I thought to myself, there's got to be a better way. So then I started thinking parallel channels. That might work. So let me pull this one up. So in this one, I decided no more Spider Audios, no more Selig gains that looked a little messy. I still have just one reverb, but you see it doesn't have all those extra things going on. Here, let me minimize this. So yeah, as you can see, I have just the one reverb, but but I don't have all those spider audios. And the way I solved it this time was instead to, go through, and whatever track I wanted to put reverb on, I made a parallel track for that track. We'll use this clap here as the example. So it's got the clap sum as one channel, and because I bounced it from Ableton, and then I made a parallel channel and I turned the volume down. Why did I turn the volume down? Because I don't want to double the clap channel in terms of audio, like in terms of amplitude. I just wanted a separate channel that has the same information that I can use to send to the Verb. Now I hit this pre button so that the send is pre-fader. So that means this fader is not going to have an effect on it. So I can turn it down and not mute the sound entirely. At least as far as the send goes. The send can still hear it because it's pre-fader. That makes sense. I'm going to turn this automation off because we're going to be messing with this fader. So if I play this clap, you can hear it's got reverb on it, and I'll accentuate that. And you can hear that even though there is no pre-delay on this patch, pre-delay is 0 here, there's pre-delay in the reverb. And the way I achieve that, oh, sorry, I'll play it again so you can hear it. See how it goes? Clap, clap, clap verb, clap verb. See how it does that? I can get rid of all that pre-delay. You can see that the pre-delay is actually, the simple delay that's causing the pre-delay is actually on the parallel channel here. So before the channel hits the fader, it hits the inserts. So even though we're pre-fader on this send, we're post inserts. So I can, with a fully wet reverb, push the signal back, with a fully wet delay, push the signal around in time. So that's what I'm doing here. So I have 71 milliseconds of pre-delay, but if I get rid of it, or I can go crazy. But 71 sounds pretty good to me. Sure, 74, but actually I like 71. And then I mix that into taste. So that's pretty much the technique. I did this for everything that I thought needed reverb in the track, everything I wanted to put into this space. I used the simple delay here to add pre-delay. And then I sent pre-fader, because the fader's all the way down, to the reverb. And I did that with a bunch of these tracks. And here we can hear what the track sounds like without any reverb and without all the reverbs that I have set up. It's not perfect. I didn't spend all day getting it perfect, but I was definitely playing with it for sure. Let's go to a busier part of the track.
Every little thing you want, every little thing you need. Keep it all for yourself, my love, 'cause it really don't matter to me. Gotta get what you want, gotta get what you need. Better take all you get, my love, 'cause you know it don't come for free. Every little thing you want, every little thing you need. Keep it all for yourself, my love, 'cause it really don't matter to me. Come for free.
So yeah, it definitely has a cool sound and a cool vibe. And I like the idea that you pick one reverb and go. I kind of hate picking reverbs, and I don't really know what I'm doing if I pick multiple reverbs, why I'm doing that. I kind of like this idea. It's easy to accomplish once you get the concept. Yeah. Oh, one more thing I did have an idea of was taking this a step further. I set up 2 reverbs on this one. and I set up a switcher between the two. The idea was, and it's pretty much the same setup, except that I just split the signal to 2 reverbs on the input stage. So I'm sending effects 1 to the splitter and then to both reverbs, and then the output of each reverb is going into this Groovy Melon like mixer switcher type thing. It's got a crossfader right here. I'll leave a link to it in the description. And then the output of this is going back to the return. So my idea was, wouldn't it be cool if you had, like, there's these, I got the idea from these 2 reverbs. One of them, these 2 reverb patches in the RV7000. One of them said like it was like the front of the hall, and one of them said it was like the back of the hall. And I thought it'd be cool to switch between the 2, like one in the verse and one in the chorus. I ended up using 2 different verbs than that setup, but yeah, I just thought the idea of running all the instruments through one space and then switching to a more open space or something like that during the chorus would be interesting. The difference ended up here being not crazy. I mean, I could spend more time on it, but because I literally just started messing around with it. But if you take a listen, it switches to the second verb, which is a bigger, it starts actually here with a darker verb and then goes to like a more open verb here.
Gotta get what you want, gotta get what you need. Better take all you get, my love, 'cause you know it don't come for free. Every little thing you want, every little thing you need. Keep it all for yourself, my love, 'cause it really don't matter to me. Come for free. Yeah.
You can hear it a little bit more over here.
Little thing you want, every little thing you need. Better take all you get, my love, 'cause you know it don't come for free.
We can try turning the reverb on and off again just for
Every
fun.
little thing you want, every little thing you need. Better take all you get, my love, 'cause you know it don't come for free.
So yeah, you get the basic concept of what's going on here. It was really interesting to watch in that video, and I highly recommend you watch his video. But to get it all set up with the parallel channels and using the idea of using the parallel channels to send, and you'll be able to affect that send before it hits the reverb, either to add pre-delay or to darken things or to smear things, whatever you want to do. That's an interesting idea. So give it a try while you're out there, for sure.